Loud? All right. Welcome, everybody. This is Asia Pacific Call, the Miracle Call for Ancient Secrets. And today is March the 18th, holy day for lots of people across the world. And I'm Carol Ray from Central Texas. And we have a co-host is Sharmini, and we're so excited to see you this evening. Tell us how you are, where you are, and what's going on.
Well, I'm in Mumbai. I've been here since Saturday night. No, actually, Sunday. Yeah, and today is please Friday. Oh, this is it's gonna be day 5 for me for my Panchakarma. Yesterday I had a break because it was Holi. It's a holiday here. And everything shuts down, everything shuts down. And the day before, I observed fire ceremony because there's a temple nearby to my place where I was staying. There was a small Ganesh temple, so they had it there. Went around 3 times,
Nice.
Tried to get rid of all my tamasic, whatever I have. So it was great. And yesterday morning, the children were just shooting at each other with their water guns, colored water guns. Because I live in a housing flat, so few kids around. So it's quite interesting watching them do that. The naughty ones were the older ones. They want to try and do it. I said, please don't.
For the people listening that don't know, could you explain what Holi is about, what the significance is?
Holi is a festival that starts. Actually, I myself am not very familiar with it because it's not celebrated in my part of the world. This is more of a festival celebrated in Maharashtra upwards, northwards. So from what I know, it's a celebration of Krishna's. So it's related to Krishna, and also it's a way
Aparna, can you help out?
Aparna, you better help out because it's not my festival.
Well, it's a spring festival, beginning of spring. So spring harvest also is one significance. All festivals have the bottom line, good over evil. So significance of that, there are many stories and legends about it. One is very famous where a boy who worships Lord Vishnu, and his father doesn't approve, and his father is a demon, and father tries to do so many atrocities, and the boy survives everything. Finally, where on the day where we burn the Holi, actually it is named after his sister, who had a boon where she won't be affected by fire. So she takes the kid, sits in the lap in the fire, but her intention wasn't good. So she was consumed by the fire and the kid survives. So that's what it is. Burning Holi is burning all your negativity. And there is nothing pure like fire. It kills everything. It purifies, and you have regrowth from it. So that's the day before, and the day next is celebration. Another legend is around Lord Krishna, Krishna and all the cowherds and the cowgirls playing Holi, just a friendship. So many things go around. In North India, in many places, they used to play with flowers, not colors. But over time, color is more popular. Now they are again going back to flower. The Vrindavan area, Varanasi area, it was more of a flower Holi. So it is culmination of spring festival, good over evil, victory of good over evil, and just pure enjoyment.
Oh, how fun. And in significance, it's second only to Festival of Light, Diwali. Is that right?
To an extent, there are many
Yeah,
things. The
that's
Dashera is
different.
also um, again the victory of good over evil. That is quite significant all over India
That's
as
very
well.
significant. Because
Yes,
there you light candle, you light
diyas,
lamps around the house. So
oil lamps. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Holi is getting more popularity because of the fun factor also.
Fun factor.
And hi, Bridget. And there Bollywood has many movies have very good songs on Holi. So that's
Okay. Well, we're going to take a few minutes and watch Dr. Naram's video on Holi because it's so significant and it's such a great lesson for all of us and a good reminder, even if you've seen it before. So stand by and I hope everything works just the way it's supposed to. And I believe it's here. Share.
Namaskar, I am Dr. Pankaj Naram and today I would like to share with you a very powerful ancient secrets on amazing Holi. My master said, Holi is a ritual. Holi is the most powerful transforming experiential ritual to change your life forever. Now you might say, what are you talking, Dr. Naram? Holi can help you how to let go of bitterness, of hatred, and how to celebrate future, how to welcome future. Believe it or not, 36 years ago, when I was learning this secret art and science of pulse reading and marma about life, about people who are suffering from diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, osteoporosis, and different kinds of cancer and mental illness. My master said, Dr. Naram, the secret is this. 90% problems, they come from keeping hatred in your heart. And tomorrow is a Holi. And I want you, and I want to help you to transform yourself. You have a lot of bitterness. Isn't it? I said, yes, I've got bitterness with my father. Believe it or not, from the childhood, I felt, it is my experience, that I felt my father is abusing me and I started hating my father. I started asking question, Papa, why did you produce me if you are hating me so much, if you are hating me so much? And then the hatred built up like anything. Now, my master said, if you want to focus, if you want to become the best pulse reader on this planet, you need to let go of this hatred. And I used to say, why did he do this to me? Why? Now, believe it or not, I did a ritual with my master on 2 days of Holi. The first day, where there is a fire building up. What is this fire? My master said, you do one thing, Dr. Naram. You need to let go of your hatred. You need to let go of your bitterness in your heart. And how? So he told me a ritual which I am sharing with you. On the first day, when the Holi is happening, that means when the fire is burning, you put your bitterness, you put your hatred in that fire and become free. Let go, let go. Easy to say, but how to do? So he told me this marma. You take your left hand and you press here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you are pressing this, you keep your eyes closed, you make a red frame. So I made a red frame and I saw my father. And when you press here, you might get a pain. Now this is not only if you have a hatred or bitterness for your parents, for your children, for your life partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, business, or whomever you feel has cheated you and you have a bitterness for that person. So make that picture and you press this. And I did pressing. And believe it or not, after sometimes I started crying. Sometimes I started feeling lighter. And then you write down that name and put that whole name into the fire. Number 1. Now, once you let go, the second day is celebration. Celebration of what? Celebration of what is possible. And then what do? He told me, look into your father's eyes. You have done let go. Now go there. Take a color. I took gulab. I took a red. I took green. I took yellow. I put like a symbolic and I went there, touched the feet of my father and I said, I love you. Inside I said, I forgive you. And I put that in his head and he started crying because he had not seen me from a couple of years being close to him. And he hugged me. And also he said, I love you. Believe it or not. That is celebration. Once you let go, then you celebrate. You give sweets to your people whom you have been hating, or sweets to whom you have a bitter feelings. So then the sweetness starts in your life. This is the power transformation ritual of Holi. I urge you, believe it or not, do this celebration. Make this Holi a life transforming experience every year. So in one whole year, whatever bitterness is there, whatever fears are there, or whatever hatred is there for anybody, it can be anybody, it can be stranger, it can be your politician, it can be your neighbor, it can be your animal, it can be your pet dog, it can be your wife or husband, father, mother, boyfriend, girlfriend, anybody. This is a golden opportunity. Once you let go, believe it or not, you become lighter. And my master told me at that time, Dr. Naram, you are holding this bitterness. Your father doesn't know about it. So who is suffering? You are suffering. You are burning yourself. So instead of burning yourself, why don't you burn your bitterness? Why don't you burn that hatred and become free? And believe it or not, I became free. I inspire you. I love you. I want this world to be a better place to live, full of peace, happiness, joy, and creativity to create a new possibility. If you have a luggage holding in your head, in your brain, in your subconsciousness about bitterness, about hatred of somebody, how can you think properly? How can you create anything properly? And if you can't think properly, if you cannot create properly, you will always have challenges. Financial challenges, health challenges, wealth challenges, happiness challenges. So if you want to be happy, if you want to be healthy, and if you want to be wealthy, this powerful Holi, believe it or not, if you do this ritual from this concept, how to let go your bitterness, your anger, your hatred, and then get ready for a new year, new start. Start your new year with possibility of everything with the same person, and then see, then every year you can repeat this. And many other secrets are there about letting go, about creating a future, how to create unimaginable possibility, how to program your subconscious mind. First, let go. So I inspire you. I love you. Please listen to me and let go and enjoy life. You cannot believe how much good sleep you will get. You won't require sleeping pills. You won't require blood pressure pills. You won't require diabetes pills. You will be free. So this is about technology of transformation. I love you all. Namaskar.
There are 3 simple changes.
How many of you have not seen that before? Andrea.
About the time I first started researching how tumors grow and develop, my Aunt Lizzie was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I don't know what that's
I'm sure
coming from.
probably all of you have been in my shoes where a loved one receives a cancer diagnosis and you want to.
Carol, I just muted you until you got that figured out. It's just on your YouTube. So did you guys do Holi this year? Andrew, yeah, do you guys want to talk about it?
I have a question. No, I didn't do it, unfortunately. I didn't
Oh.
even know what it was. But okay, what if the person is on the other side now, like my father, and there is some lack of forgiveness on my part? And then how do you do that?
Aparna, is it, you can let go of the hatred or the upset in your heart, even though they've passed, right? Is that right?
But you can't, there's no way you can put the colors on them. That's what I'm saying. That he said in the film.
Dr.
Wow.
Clint said that if the person wasn't around, then you can give candy to other people, like on the, so you do your letting go process in your mind with your, the picture in the white frame over your left eye, I believe. And then, so you do everything, but when it comes to giving to other people or throwing colors on other people, then if you don't have the specific person, then you make your gifts in representing that you're giving to that person.
Okay.
That's how I understood it anyway. And today is the day. Is today the day?
Yeah. Yesterday was the day for burning. Today is the day for celebration.
Ah.
But I guess for me to let go, I have to do this quite often. So every week there is one day holy for me now.
I like that idea. We all have plenty to let go of right now.
So which day do we decide? We meet on Friday. So Thursday would be my holy day. Burning day, Friday.
Your celebration. Perfect. You know what? In the Jewish religion, there's a similar tradition. The day before Passover starts, you write down all the things that you want to be forgiven for and that you regret. I mean, just similar, things that you just want to ease yourself of. And you burn those the day before Passover begins. And then Passover begins with, a feast, essentially, and a celebration. So it's a really similar tradition. And my guess is that there are other religions that do something like it as well.
When I was living in Europe, which was 19 years, in Switzerland and Germany, they do something, but they're not relating it to that. So they're missing a bunch. They actually burn winter, and they make like a green man type of thing. And they set it on flames and everybody's yelling and screaming. The idea of coming into spring, but they have totally lost this other aspect, which is pretty interesting now that I'm thinking about it.
I think the main point that, is such a good reminder is how much of our long-term illnesses are rooted in self-loathing or holding grudges or animosity towards others. And you have to cleanse that out of your soul, and it's a good process to go through to see what you're holding on to or recognize things, within yourself that are holding you back from being all that you can be or being the healthiest version of you. I know some of us were in the immersion call with Dr. Deepika, and she was talking about our Shakti, women's Shakti, and she brought up a lot of stuff about the female cycle and hormones and such. And I hadn't even thought about that stuff for so long, and I had all of this grief and sorrow just kind of come in because I didn't, not one monthly cycle for the years I had it was ever a pleasant one or a good one or a healthy one. And I just didn't realize how much of an impact that had on my being, because it was so it was traumatic, it was painful, it was, there's just so much to it. And you know, I've worked through the parent stuff, worked through the ex-husband stuff, worked through all this stuff, but the femininity side, the Shakti side, that the embracing of the special qualities of what makes us women, I had never stopped to kind of mourn the loss. I had a hysterectomy at 26, a total hysterectomy, and had many bouts of being ill, severely anemic, and I had endometrial tissue that choked off my intestines and had to have several feet of my intestines removed from my girl parts being dysfunctional. So it's time for me to let go and forgive my girl parts for their part and their role in what happened. And as a result, I was had osteoporosis really badly by I was 50 when I had a spine of an 89-year-old. So that's one of the downsides of not having ovaries or any hormonal replacement therapy. So that's a piece that I needed to recognize and honor and let go of, that I didn't even know I was harvesting or holding on to.
It's interesting that you say that, because I didn't know how much like lifetimes of stuff I was holding on to, but I knew like when I was 9, I did not like being in a girl body, and I didn't know why. And as I've, once I got onto a spiritual path, it occurred to me, I'm not going to live a long time if I don't decide to love my body, And so then really unpacking the layers of healing the history of women, why I would choose to come in knowing that I was like, something in me knew I was this, something was going to heal in me, and I didn't know how many layers and how many lifetimes I've, been that girl that was not treated well. And when you're in a poor family, the girls are these extra expenses that can get sold off and, married off and whatever. And learning how to, that and still happens to a lot of women, but it's not happening to me now. I was graced with a mom and dad of Chinese ancestry, but born in America where things could be different.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that, right?
Yep. My dad always said my mom would have been dead a long time ago if she'd been born in China. She insisted on treating her girls equal to the boys and stuff. And this was the lifetime. It was all going to turn around and we could really do whatever we want,
How many siblings do you have?
One older sister and one younger brother. So I'm in the middle.
Awesome.
Well, I love that you're so strong. I love that you are so strong. And I love that you said that you had to learn how to love your female body. I didn't even think about that, but you know what? I probably don't love my body as much as I need to. So
I'd say that's the case for most of us, even regardless of how aware of it or not we are, Anybody who has a hard time keeping a normal weight, that it's probably, related to some aspect of their loving their body.
very true.
Can I add something to that?
Yes, please.
I think this is why massaging your own body is so critical. Because in a way, when you massage your own body with oil, you are learning to love yourself. You're learning to love that physical body. So to do the oil massage, so good.
That's an excellent point. What kind of oils do you think make the best for self-massage and self-care?
I don't know. What I use is sesame oil. But
Sesame.
they say that's the best oil. But
I
what
was
usually-
investigating.
what I usually do is I heat it up and I keep it aside and use that. Right? You have to heat it up a little bit so that the warmth of the oil goes in, so the oil goes into you deeper. Because
Do you,
when
you put it
I was
on
having massages here, they do use the oil is a bit hot, you know.
Hmm. And do you leave the oil on overnight, or do you do it
I
before
just
you
do it in the
shower?
morning and just do it before shower, half an hour to 1 hour.
Half an hour before you shower?
1 hour.
An hour before?
Yeah,
It's good
Carol,
moisturizer. It's an excellent moisturizer. Maybe for you all, if you all are, you know, in the cold climates.
Yeah, I
My
did
skin is so
practice
dry.
where I did the dry scrub and then the oil massage before bed, and then took a warm shower, like, and washed it off and then slept. But when you're using the sesame oil, you want to have old towels.
Yeah,
I
old
went to the-
towels,
I went
old
to the-
dress.
Yeah, I went to the dollar store and bought some junk towels to use after my sesame oil showers.
I was looking on online. Unfortunately, my computer shut down due to lack of power, and I lost the link. But I was looking at the various things, the oils, massage oils, and things that would balance Vata. And so there are some that are Vata specific, and then there was one that wound up like being balancing for all doshas. So if you you either have multiple doshas that are out of balance, or you know, everybody in your family might be you might be using the same oil for everybody, then there was one that was good for all doshas.
Richard, which oils do you like from Banyan?
Well, I haven't so far ordered, but I was going to order before they disappeared. So now I have to find them again. But there was one, Monica from Italy. She says she's really fallen in love with Brahmi, and I had never even heard of Brahmi. And so there's a Banyan oil that has Brahmi, and one other thing that was a Vata specific oil. And then I think the all dosha oil is also got Brahmi in it.
Bridget, did you have some recommendations for oils from Banyan or others?
Banyan oils for at least a year. And I always use it in my hair. They say to put it in your hair at least a half hour to let it seep into your hair. And I try to do that. I love the Bringaraj oil. I love the oil for the muscles and the tissues. And there's also a face balm that I use. I love the face balm. It's just the most moisturizing cream. It's a face cream. And it's just wonderful. I love Banyan botanicals. And I really like Banyan because they're very supportive of Ancient Secrets. They helped Ralph Brown out with donating some stuff for the homeless last year. And they're very supportive. So if they're going to support Ancient Secrets, I'll support them.
Absolutely. And they're in New Mexico,
all of
my
you.
favorites.
I'm supporting all of you right now with a holy gift. I don't know if you can see it, but
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing this, and each one of those is each one of you. Each one of you is a bright spark. There's 9.
Oh, thank you, Bridget. Yay, we've been holied.
I love it.
That's so fun. Yay.
Calligraphy class for 4 hours a few weeks ago, and ever since then I've really been getting my artist on. So
Awesome.
yeah,
One of the great
beautiful
things
time of the
about
year to appreciate. This is a beautiful time of year, especially with Holy, to appreciate the brightness, the intensity of being able to see color, because I have a friend who can barely see at all. He's pretty much blind. And I think,
Mhm.
isn't it such a gift to be able to see all these beautiful, bright colors? I just dropped them all over my computer, but I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to be able to have the vision to see and appreciate the beauty of bright colors. My granddaughter just left about a half hour ago, and we just do nothing but draw, and I just love to see her interpretation of colors. So yeah, I'm really into Holy this year. So I honor all of you with this. Your nice 9 bright lights. Thank you.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I love doing art with my granddaughter too. It's one of my favorite things. We would paint rocks and go hide them in the park. We can put love or happiness or spirit filled or something on it, and then go hide it. And we always have done art projects, and it's the thing about art and music is it keeps you in the present. You can't worry about all that past stuff or all the future stuff. It's here, it's now, and it brings you fully into your spirit. So if you haven't got the artist book, I know Jana had it recently. You have any of your art laying around, Jana?
I don't. I have to, I'll have to look for it, but thank you.
I want to say how nice it is to see Charmini. She is absolutely glowing, and I am so
She look
jealous
great.
you had a panchakarma treatment. Girlfriend, you're lucky. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, Bridget. Yes,
You
it's
look
been
just
great.
radiant. Your hair looks great. Your skin looks great. You look like you've I don't know, a
Maybe
whole new
lighting.
version. A whole new version of you.
Yes, it's only day 4 I've done,
Day 4.
I've still got a long way to go. My actual detox days is in a couple of days' time.
Oh, okay. And how long has it been since you were in India last?
Almost 3 years.
3 years. Has anything changed?
No, this is Mumbai, so it's a new city for me, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
different. Because usually I either travel the south or go to the extreme north. I'm never in the middle.
So glad you got to go.
Really loved and cared for at the Ayush Shakti clinic. When you meet Dr. Mira and Krishna and everybody, it just must be the best, warmest feeling.
Oh yes, it was so great. It's just like, I think on the second day, Tuesday, I met Krishna on Tuesday or Wednesday. That was a Tuesday. I was coming down, I saw this boy meeting. I said, oh, it's Krishna. He was having his lunch because I just finished my treatment. I was coming in. So we had a conversation for a while because he was having another meeting else with his friends. So I managed to have a good conversation with him, and also picked his brains, because he knows pretty much everything. So I said, hey, I had this, and I had that. And so he was explaining it all to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been really exciting.
I think Renara made it there today.
I spoke to her. She's not, for you it's today, like for me it's another day. So it's post already. So I spoke to her last night. Yeah, she's good. Yeah. I'm meeting up with her today because she's staying at the Malad Center.
Oh, she is. Nice.
Yes. She's staying for Panchakarma for 1 week. I'm staying out, so that's a different.
So is it 6:11 a.m. your time right now?
Yep.
Early morning. Wow, that's so cool.
You're already up and dressed with your jewelry and your hair done. You look amazing.
You do look amazing.
This is not even my.
Well, it looks good on you, girl.
Yeah, it's already bright here. Sun is right, regenerate. Yeah, so it's good. Yeah.
So Andrea,
It's
when
only
do
the
you,
mosquitoes, I got a lot of mosquito bites.
Oh, God, yeah, it's the worst time. It's
I
awful.
don't know. I usually don't get mosquito bites, but I don't know. Maybe the mosquitoes love me here.
Hey,
love mine,
Sharmini, if you have bay leaves and camphor, burn them. Mosquitoes will go.
Oh,
I have to go to the shop to find a shop.
Oh, see,
I'd
the
ask the
Ayushakti
kitchen.
clinic, right to Ayushakti clinic is the shop. You'll find agarbatti, everything there.
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
you come out of the gate, just right.
Go to the right.
oh
Yeah.
yes, there was a tailor there too. I gave some clothes to sew as well.
I was going to say, and
Yeah.
if you go the other way and then you cross the street and just go straight, there's a whole bunch of shops there.
Yeah, I went to one of the shops there, which was Texans, and sold all the spices and.
Yeah. And if you go a little farther, there's a really good park. And I used to walk down there and sit down there and watch everything in the afternoons when I had nothing else to do.
Awesome. So Aparna,
I've
you
got my
said,
own park here too.
Aparna, you said to burn bay leaves and what?
Camphor,
Camphor.
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 It's
It is
something
somewhere.
that's white. It's white color,
Yeah.
and it's used. And when you go to the temples, they usually burn that when they do the arati for the gods. Yeah.
And so, Aparna, what do you do to repel them? Because obviously that wouldn't work if they want to make a salad out of you,
Well, when I went, fortunately, I cleaned the house so well that mosquitoes didn't survive. But I actually get a lot of mosquitoes, but I did not. I don't know, for the period I went from here, came back, I didn't even sneeze for even once. So I do not know how mosquitoes ran away. They thought I'm too dangerous for them. So they ran away.
But you were there more.
No, Andrea, the mosquitoes may not bite you because sometimes they just go for the sweet blood.
Yeah, you get Odomus cream. You can apply that too.
Which one?
Sharmini Odomus. It can be used for babies as well, so it's quite safe. I'll send you the name. Text you the name.
Like, for instance, if you were spending time in a park, right?
Yeah.
Obviously bay leaf and camphor won't work. Would basil work if you were to take do a cold infusion of, say, basil leaves and spray it on your skin before you went out? Do you know if that would work?
I do not know if that works, basil, but
Yeah.
like here in US, you get OFF. In India, you get a cream called Odomus. I'll send you the name. That you can get, Sharmini, and just put it on. You don't even feel, it's very light on skin, and it is quite good. I heard that.
Not chemical based. It's not chemical based, right?
I don't think so. I purchased it, but I did not use it. So
I've had,
I had
pretty good
everything.
luck
I
with
had off. I had Odomus. You get the good night repellent also, which comes in herbal formulas as well. So you get a small electric machine and you can put a small biscuit in there, and then it will.
Yeah, the guy has that thing here, so I just never thought to get that biscuit thing to put inside.
Yeah, or you can get a liquid also. It works quite well. In the Ayushakti clinic, if you ask the store, the medical store there, they will also tell you if they have something. Yeah.
Andrea, when do you leave?
Oh, Andrea is going to India?
Yes, she is.
Oh, finally.
I leave Wednesday, and oh my God, everything is a lesson in patience. From trying to get the visa and not get scammed, you know, you have to navigate the many sites that are offering visas, and so many are scam, you know. So it takes patience, you know.
Thank you so much for the list you put together, because we had a couple of people at the very last minute decided they want to go, and I used your list to help them. Like, you're going to need a copy of your vaccination record. You're going to need a copy of your this, that, and the other. And I just used your list. So thank you so much for being organized.
Oh, you know what? Poor Rupa, you know, I was feeling for her, you know.
She gets every day so many things.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people forget, you know, they just don't realize that she's really the only one that's really doing everything. And you know, it's not easy to just pull together things for a bunch of people coming from all over the world. And you know, so I sent her an email. I said, listen, use me. You know. And so I told her, I said, anything I could think of, I will type it in there. And then I told her, when I get down there, put me to use, you know, and if she needs me to type up whatever schedule from here, so that, you know, everything goes smoothly. Because remember, this is the first time they're doing this program, you know. And it's a lot. They're trying to pull it together. And from what I hear, I think there are 3 different locations. People will 3 different kind of accommodations. I don't know if Sharmini, maybe you could speak about this.
She said she's only using one accommodation for everybody.
Okay.
She's trying to get one accommodation, because I did ask her the other day. I can volunteer my service. She said, no. I said, yes, I'm here. You know, I can help you. And she said, so I think she's got her final numbers, because some people are still last minute, you know.
Well, you know what's happened? A lot of flights have been canceled and rebooked, and canceled and rebooked, and that just makes everything just crazy for everybody. And so people are experiencing angst now. And now you know, you also have the issue of the 72-hour RT-PCR.
PCR,
you know,
yeah. You have to do the PCR. You can't do the RT. You have to do the actual RT-PCR, yeah.
RT-PCR, right. Yeah. And you have to do it 72 hours prior. And then that declaration, you can't do that till you have that.
No, you can do that. You know, if you get to the correct website, you can type in everything, leave that file open in your computer. And then as you finish each thing, you just upload it.
Well, I guess we haven't found that correct website, because
it's the Indian.
Because
it took Arati 6. I think Arati said it took her 6 hours. I used the
Indian website, the one from the Indian government. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's the one I use. It's been easy.
Wait, to access the Air Suvita?
Yeah, I used.
Okay, thank you for that information. I'll put it in the chat, in the WhatsApp, let everyone know, because Arati said it took her 6 hours. That's torture.
Yeah, you have to go. But then I don't know how big the scamming is in US. Even the website for Indian also, you have to be careful, I suppose. You know,
yeah,
the Indian High Commission website.
Geez, oh, that's lovely. Yeah, it's.
So once you get into the Indian Commission website, then it's all very much easier, because you get into the correct website to upload all your stuff and to fill in your information. Wow. And you have to make sure you have to put in your residence, your residence, or where you're going to stay in India too. They need to have that too.
Wow. Well, I'll share that.
Yeah, that's helpful. Yay. Well, Liz is in the house. My guess is we had a change with the American time that's throwing some people off. We're so glad that Nancy is joining us and Miss Liz Mulligan from New Zealand. And I hope everybody can take time and stay another spell of time. I don't know if it's half hour, 45 minutes, or how much time. But Liz is going to give us a little talk on our Shakti in the mind, which I thought was exciting. So Liz, welcome, welcome.
Hello, is my screen in the right place? Can you
It's
see
a
me
bit
all right?
dark.
It's
You're
a bit
looking
dark
a bit
on
dark.
your face.
I wonder if it's because, see if I can,
Oh, that's a bit dark too.
oh, is it darker? Is it, oh. I thought it would create more light being behind the window. Is it?
That might
Maybe
be
if
better.
you sat at an angle, it would be better.
Maybe I'm in my son's bedroom.
That is better.
Yeah, that's better.
Yes, that's
Oh, yeah,
better.
perfect.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
I'll do a balancing act on his bed. There. Yeah. I'll bring my chair up. Mind out the way, doggy. Is that better?
Oh yeah, that's very good.
I was going to sit at his desk. He does all his Zoom calls here, and it's nice because he's away. So it gives me the privacy to use his bedroom.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. His room's actually the nicest one in the house.
Okay. All right. Well, we are anxious to hear what you have to tell us, Miss Liz.
Oh, cool. It's, yeah, I've been really looking into it. It's been good for me because, you know, when I was studying Ayurveda, we didn't do much on the mind. And I was thinking, you know, we're in a strange time, and lots of things are coming up for most of us, and a lot of them are old stuff that we thought we'd sorted or cleared, and well, this is what I'm noticing from the people around me. And so, you know, and it's causing a lot of stress and a lot of depression, and that's why I thought maybe, you know, we'll have talking about the mind and an Ayurvedic perspective of the mind anyway. But so basically a lot of my references coming from this book here, Ayurveda in the Mind, The Healing of Consciousness, and that's by Dr. David Frawley. So this was one that we were given. But I'll put my, I'll look intelligent. Well, I thought I'd start reading, put my glasses on, try and look a bit intelligent anyway. And, but how is everybody? Good, okay. Yeah, so I thought I'd start off by just reading the psychological characteristics of Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And as far as, you know, in conjunction with the elements, air, ether, fire, water, earth. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll read out, you know, it's interesting because you can relate to some of it, not all of it, but you can certainly tick a few boxes of what it's got to say here. So I thought we'd start with the Vata types. And it says here, Vata types are quick and agile in their minds with changing interests and inclinations. They are talkative, informed and intellectual and can understand many different points of view. However, they can be superficial in their ideas and talk on aimlessly. Their minds easily waver and can wander out of control. While they may have some knowledge of many different things, they can lack deep knowledge of a particular subject. Their will is usually indecisive and unsteady. They lack determination, consistency, and self-confidence, and often have negative images of themselves. Vatas suffer most from fear, which is their first reaction to anything new or strange. They like to worry, easily get afflicted by anxiety, and usually lack stability. They get spaced out and may be absent-minded. Their memory is short-term or erratic. They suffer quickly from overwork and over-exercise and tend to overextend themselves in whatever they do. Air types, though, make good teachers, computer programmers, and excel at communication, as with the mass media. They are good at thinking, writing, and organising data. They make good musicians, but may be oversensitive to noise. Generally, they are creative, and most artists are of this type. They can be highly sociable and like to mix with people of all types. Yet when the air element is too high, they become loners, hypersensitive to human contact. This is because they have too much to say and do not know how to relate it, not because they are really of a solitary nature. They are commonly rebels and do not like to be either leaders or followers. However, they are also the most flexible, adaptable, and able to change of the three types once they understand what they need to do. I could tick quite a few of those things that they've said there. Typical Vata in body and mind. So with the Pitta characteristics, Pitta types are intelligent, perceptive, and discriminating. They have sharp minds and see the world in a clear and systematic manner. Yet because their ideas are sharp, they may be opinionated, judgmental, or self-righteous. They are prone to anger, which is their main reaction to new or unexpected events, and tend to be aggressive or domineering. They have strong wills and can be impulsive or self-willed. They make good leaders, but can be fanatic or insensitive. They like the use of energy and force and are prone toward argument or violence. Pittas make good scientists and often have a good understanding of mechanics and mathematics. They like to work with tools, weapons, or chemistry. They have probing minds and are good at research and invention. They may be good psychologists and have deep insight. Most military persons or police officers are fire types. They like law and order and see the value of punishment. Most lawyers with their sharp minds and debating skills are of this type, including most politicians. Pittas are good orators or preachers and are convincing in presenting their cases. However, they may lack compassion and have a hard time seeing other points of view. They prefer hierarchy and authority over consensus and democracy. The hard-driving executive who gets a sudden heart attack is usually a high Pitta type. The same determination can serve them well if directed to the proper goal. And then we've got the Kapha. Kapha types are emotional in temperament and positively have much love, devotion, and loyalty. Negatively, they have much desire, attachment, and may be possessive or greedy. They are romantic, sentimental, and cry easily. Mentally, they are slower in learning than the other types, but retain what they learn. Much repetition is needed for them to grasp things. They are not creative or inventive, but do carry things out and make them useful. They are better at finishing things than at starting them. They like to bring things into form and create institutions and establishments. Water types are traditional or conventional in their behaviour and beliefs. They like to belong, to be part of a group, and seldom rebel. They are good followers and prefer to work in association. They are content and accept things as they are. They are stable but sometimes stagnant. They do not like to change and find change difficult, even when they want to. They are friendly, particularly with people they know, and hold closely to their families. Yet they have difficulties relating to strangers or foreigners. While they do not like to hurt others, they may be insensitive to the needs of those outside their sphere. Sometimes they throw their weight around and smother or suppress others. Kaphas are usually good parents and providers. In women, they make good mothers and wives and like cooking and baking and homemaking. The men may be chefs or work in restaurants with their large chests, good lungs and good voices. They make good singers. They like to accumulate wealth and hold firmly to what they get. They excel at real estate and make good bankers. Once motivated, they can be consistent and hard workers who hold on to all they get. So I was just wondering, can we tick a few things there? So when you look at the mind and the elements of the mind with the earth, fire, water, air, and ether, the mind itself is primarily the ether element of nature. It's like space, it's expansive and open and can hold so much. And the more evolved the mind becomes, the greater becomes its space. And in movement, it's like the wind. So air is its secondary element. The constant movement of thoughts in the mind connects it with the air element. And the fire or light element is for perception of things. It helps in understanding. The water element is the quality of emotion, empathy, and feelings. And earth carries memory and attachment. It holds the ego and the sense of separateness and an object of self-image. So the mind itself is consciousness, but there are the levels of consciousness. And those levels, the earth is the ego, water is the sense mind, fire is intelligence, air is inner consciousness, and ether is your higher self. So in the spiritual nature of all the elements, there are three gunas. Have you heard of the gunas? Have you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is in everything and in the universe, but in the mind, it's sattva, rajas, and tamas. So understanding the gunas of the mind and changing them from tamas to sattva is the key to mental health and spiritual development. So I thought I'd read again a little bit about sattva, rajas, and tamas, and as far as the mind is concerned. But maybe we could do that little quiz I was talking about. Does everyone have a pen and paper? And it'll give us sort of an idea.
Sharmini, you can type it in the chat if you want. She was looking for paper. That's why she was searching.
We can wait. It's
there she is.
Because with all the elements, all of life, we need all the elements. We need the tamas, we need the rajas, we need the sattva. That's how life exists. With the heavy kapha, the fire of pitta, and the movement of air and ether. So, you know, whatever we see ourselves in, it's okay, because it's all part, you know, it's, to me, one isn't better than the other, because we need them all. But as far as this chart goes, what you can do is just put in A, B, or C, and then just at the end of it, just add up which is the highest to which is the lowest, and it'll be pretty much where you're at here and now. So it starts with diet. So you're either A, vegetarian, B, some meat, C, heavy meat diet. Drugs, alcohol and stimulants, A, never, B, occasionally, C, frequently. Sensory impressions, A, calm and pure, B, mixed, C, disturbed. Need for sleep, A, little, B, moderate, C, high. Sexual activity, A, low, B, moderate, C, high. Am I going at an all right pace? Control of senses, A, good, B, moderate, C, weak. Speech, A, calm and peaceful, B, agitated, C, dull. Cleanliness, A, high, B, moderate, C, low. Work, A, selfless, B, for personal goals, C, lazy. Anger, A, rarely, B, sometimes, C, frequently. Fear, A, rarely, B, sometimes, and C, frequently. Desire, A, little, B, some, C, much. Pride, A, modest, B, some ego, B, some ego, C, vain. Depression, A, never, B, sometimes, C, frequently. Love, A, universal, B, personal, C, lacking in love. Violent behaviour, A, never, B, sometimes, and C, frequently. Attachment to money, A, little, B, some, C, a lot. Contentment, A, usually, B, partly, C, never. Forgiveness, A, forgives easily, B, with effort, C, holds long-term grudges. Concentration, A, good, B, moderate, C, poor. Memory, A, good, B, moderate, C, poor. Willpower, A, strong, B, variable, C, weak. Truthfulness, A, always, B, most of the time, C, rarely. Honesty.
What was that? What was that word? Truthfulness?
Truthfulness.
Oh,
A,
truthfulness. Okay.
truthfulness. Yeah. And honesty. A, always. B, most of the time. C, rarely. Peace of mind. A, generally. B, partly. C, rarely. Creativity, A, high, B, moderate, C, low. Spiritual study, A, daily, B, occasionally, C, never. Mantra, prayer, A, daily, B, occasionally, C, never. Meditation, A, daily, B, occasionally, C, never. And service, the last one, A, much, B, some, and C, none. So, you know, this is just your personal.
What was the last one?
Oh, service.
Oh, service.
Service, A, much, B, some, C, none. So, yeah, so you can add those all the A's, all the B's, and all the C's. And it gives you an idea of where you're at this stage. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have sattvic qualities, we all have rajasic qualities, and we all have tamasic qualities. And we can easily, you know, have a day where we've given great service, done all those sattvic beautiful qualities, and we could be in a total sattva state of mind. And say, for an example, at the end of the day, we decide to put our feet up and watch a love story, say. And we're watching this movie, this love story, and we're feeling into it, and we start feeling emotional. But a way that the sattva quality can soon change is by then relating your own experiences from the movie, and then start feeling sad, which starts to bring you down from that sattvic state of being. And the mind becomes active, which is then, because you're thinking and you're remembering of your own experience, it becomes in a rajasic state. And it can move from that state into a tamasic state, because all of a sudden you're feeling depressed, heavy, feeling like, oh, you know, the ego steps in. The ego self steps in and separates ourselves from everything. We become separate and just caught in that mind remembrance. So that's how quickly we can move from being sattva into tamas. So if you find that you've stayed in and woken up the next morning, or you've had a terrible night's sleep because of those thoughts, and you wake up feeling heavy and yuck, and then you try to, you know, work through it. The best way is not to try and get back into a sattva type of a state, but you move from tamas to rajas. You do it that way, then rajas to sattva. To try to get from a tamasic state straight into a sattvic state will just pull you back down again. It can be quite hard. And then you can feel just yuck all over again. So, you know, it's about being gentle with yourself, about seeing these emotions and these things that actually come up. When you are feeling in that tamasic state, you want to start bringing thoughts, good thoughts again. So it can be either doing breathing exercises, trying to clear your mind. And the way, for me personally, the way I see to do these things is to try to become the observer of what comes up. When we can be the observer, do you understand what I mean by being the observer of your feelings and your thoughts? Almost as if you can be sitting on the bank and watching these thoughts and these emotions and these feelings that have come up. So in a sense, you're detaching yourself from your mind-body constitution. Does that make sense? It's not easy to do, but it's something, practice. When you practice this brings us into that different state of consciousness, that higher state of consciousness, where we can actually, as soon as you feel emotions coming up, and it's going to happen all the time, because we can be great and then somebody comes along and just triggers us, and then we feel we're reacting. Our body is reacting and our thoughts are reacting, and our old program is coming to the surface, and we straight away fall into the ego. We straight away become victims of whatever is happening outside of us. So this is where the practices of what we eat come into play, what we're feeding our body, yoga, pranayama, those lovely ones Kuba was showing us, breathing in through the nostril, exhaling out of the other nostril. Those are wonderful practices to help us when certain things do rear up, to bring us back into that calm space. But like I was saying before, all these states are there for a reason, and anything now that is coming up for us needs to come up, because we need to finally look at these things and really look, rather than pushing it back down or pushing it away. We need to find that place where we acknowledge these thoughts and these emotions and what's going on in our body. And instead of pushing it away, try to be the observer of it. And when you can look at it, then we can basically put love into it, because all it's saying is, hi, remember me, you know, I'm here, and you keep pushing me down or keep shutting that door in my face, but I want to come out. I want to be seen, you know, and that's all it is. At the end of the day, it wants to be loved like every other part of us wants to be loved. So if we can see it in that observing state, it gives us a chance to give it its freedom to go, to be released, to let it go. It might come back again, but it's almost, you can say, hey, hi, yeah, well, you're back. I see you. I see you. Yes, I feel you. Yes, it's acknowledging these things is the best thing you can do for yourself. And because we are, I think everything in life, and we're all evolving. Life is moving at a completely faster pace than we ever know it. And now is the time to really finally let go and be at peace with these things that have held us as hostage and held us in that ego dull state of being. So manifestation will happen a lot faster if we dwell in these things. We are inviting it to come and stay with us, more of it. Like will always increase like. So if we look at it, love it, even as hard as it seems in the beginning for some things, you know, we've made internal promises that I'm never going to forgive that person for that, or I'm never gonna, you know, all these internal promises that we make, boy, we've really stuck them in our bodies. We've held on to them on an organ. It's where disease starts. We don't want that. We don't want it. We want to let it go. We want to free it. And it's by acknowledging it, we can set these things free. So sattva, rajas and tamas comes in food as well. So tamasic foods would be like foods that you yesterday's leftovers, stale food, old putrid food that, you know, overripe peach, you know, it's just gone past its due date. Fatty foods, meat, heavy meat. Rajasic foods are very spicy, you know, they've got more too much garlic, it's sort of over excess of foods, too much onions, too many pickles, you know, too much sour cream with that dip. Not sort of, you know, and I love chip and dip. Oh, I could have a whole dinner of chip and dip, but, you know, not good. And so, you know, we can help balance ourselves, especially, and this is where Ayurveda is so beautiful, in understanding your constitution, your particular dosha, and the right foods to eat, because sattvic foods are eating those foods, the right foods for your body, and in the right seasons, of course, rather than buying those imported strawberries in a season that it's not strawberry season. Wrong time to be eating those foods. So the best foods to be eating are the ones that are grown in your own environment, in the season that they grow in. So yeah, these are the things that can help you shift from a tamasic state into sattvic states. clothing, what you wear, the colors that you wear. So feeling heavy when you're in a heavy, don't wear black. Black is a heavy color. Wear lighter colors when you're feeling heavy. If you're feeling fiery, don't wear oranges and reds. You're just adding more fire. There's a vibration and energy in color. So, you know, go to the more pastel colors, the softer tones. And so these are just a few things we can do for ourselves as far as, but when you come across somebody that is in deep depression, for example, you know, they can't do anything for themselves. They really need someone else to, come on, let's go for a walk, you know, and sometimes we need it ourselves. We might need to say to someone, I need you to do this for me. Help me get up off the chair. I need you to help me get from this state, you know, because we need, when we're in that tamasic state, we need movement. We need to start moving again. And so support. And that's why I love this, you know, we're in a safe space here in this beautiful group of people. And we can lean on each other at times and we need to. We can't do it on our own. So that's why I thought, oh, well, just talking about the mind, sort of understanding it a little bit better. I mean, this is a very narrow version of a huge picture. But I hope you enjoyed it.
I thought it was really great, Liz. It's something we don't apply the gunas to the mind. That's new way of thinking, and I found it to be very informative, and it gives you another paradigm in which to try to see where we are and what kind of things that we can, how we can grow and find more peace and harmony. And the idea of letting go is perfect for the holy festival of letting go and moving past some of the stuff that gets stuck in our craw, so to speak.
Yes.
And I recently heard a psychiatrist who's on the Harvard faculty talk. He's also into Ayurveda, and he was saying how depression shows up so differently in the doshas, that someone who's heavy Vata will show up in anxiety and fear, and move down that scale to paranoia and absolute paralysis and fear, where a Pitta person would be agitated, irritated, intimidating, and move all the way down to fits of rage and anger, and that the Kapha person would be more inclined to withdraw and to absorb in self and just isolation, and even get to the point where even the inability even to function in society as they became more depressed. So I thought that was interesting, but he had a lot of success in getting people off of medication by helping them understand their dosha and how to address it with things like diet and lifestyle and that sort of thing. So I think it's a fascinating way to look at it, and gives us a different perspective of what that is. And I don't know if there's anybody on this planet right now who's not going through some angst about where we are and what's happening and what we've been through. And we're all survivors.
Yes.
We can say that, and we've learned a lot about ourselves, I think, with this in the past 2 years plus. How about anybody else? That's enough out of me, but what's somebody else's perception?
So I found when we learned about it in class, I definitely was like, okay, now I get that I am so Vata. Like, if that's my natural personality, at least don't beat up on myself for the fact that I am not good at the other ways of being. And then maybe I can, instead of trying to change who I am, then I can just say, well, I could add more water to make myself more grounded and able to follow through. Like I don't have to change any of my Vata if I don't want, but I could still bring in some water to help me finish project. And then, but something that just occurred to me as Carol was saying what she did about the, the depression shows up differently depending on your dosha. I thought, oh, see, that's why some people are holding themselves up or committing suicide while other people are going and shooting people on the street corner. Because the people who are shooting people on the street corner are lashing out with the pit of fire.
Yeah.
And the people who are, they're, oh, I'm fine to stay at home by myself, but they can dip into that really low depression and not know how to get out of it. Those are the Kapha people. And then me and my Vata girlfriends, we are really loving our girl time and talking a lot.
And that's the beauty of a woman in general. We're good. We can generally talk, have a friend that we can have a good old bleat to and that. But sometimes you can still go home, and if it hasn't made you feel any better, it can add and create more of the same. And that's the difference with men, and that's why there is a high rate of suicide in men. Men do not talk. They do not express their feelings. And that's something, where they've never been allowed to show their feminine side. They've been brought up through the generations that, men do not cry, and you're a sissy otherwise, or whatever it is. But they don't know how to, and that's why the female energy is needed more than anything at this time. It's and I think it is a time for the female feminine energy to be in this world at this time. But yeah.
But there, hi everyone. This is
Hello.
Meena. Hi.
Hi, Meena.
Hi. How are you all doing?
So glad that you're here.
Yeah. I have a question. Like, I do agree, like, a lot of feminine energy is needed to balance. But how do you help a man who is more emotional with close family, and how to balance them?
When you say more emotional with close family, as in he's a different person anywhere else, but when he's
outside he acts like a brave, egoistic, as any other man you would expect to behave in public, but when it comes to family, like really breaks down, or not with everybody but with close family. So how do we help them? We know, like, outside it looks like a strong shell, but inside it's meek and timid, and there's a lot of fear factor. And with kind of practices they already do breathing exercises, yoga. I think they do it more as an exercise than really connect the body mind, complex. They just do it like, okay, if one more physical training kind of
just
thing.
sort of doing without the
soul involvement.
Just doing it as a practice. But has he always been like that, or has this just come about?
No, like initially it looked that person is brave, like, when people are young, youthful, they can cover it up much better, but when they start getting old, then it all comes up. It's more evident.
Yeah. It's yeah. And that is usually the case, because as you get older, maybe in a retired situation, and you're not got young children to bring up, and you're not going to full-time work, you're busy, so you don't have time. And then once you start to have more time, what happens? You start thinking, that's what they've got, and they've only got the past to think about, because it's almost like the future it's the past that comes in, which then can cause a lot of regrets of what they didn't do, or could have done better, or should have done better. And so yeah, it's a real, in a way, when I see this, and I'm seeing it with my own parents, and I saw it with my husband's parents, it's a good thing that he is able to express these feelings with his family. I think that's a really good thing. But there is a root cause. There is a root cause behind it all. Something, probably in his youth. There's something he's just not, and he probably needs whoever his parents to acknowledge it if they're still alive. But it's always our perception of what's happened in our life. We are only got our perception of it. And sometimes if you can see the bigger picture, and this is what I did to even help myself when I suffered depression, was I started to be able to look at the bigger picture at that time. What was going on? So what was going on in my parents' life at the time? What was actually the circumstances around it? And when you see, oh, well, gosh, I was working full time in a job that I hated. I had mortgage, I had young children. I was sensitive to the electromagnetic field, which I am. It was making me feel sick. I was all these factors were all coming into it. It's never just one thing. So it's almost like when you can sort of start, so whatever if he can express what's happening, if someone knows him well or understands what was going on around that time, so he's not just focused on his ego that he is the victim of this circumstance. When you can see it from a bigger, from another area of the fishbowl, you kind of see, oh, okay, well, I might have probably got that wrong. That perception of what was going on was not necessarily really what was going on. So there's a lot actually that we think is the truth of what's been happening isn't quite right. The circumstances around it aren't actually how and especially in childhood, we're seeing it from a child's view. Our perception is very, very limited compared to an adult's perception of what is actually going on.
Well,
So
Liz, I loved what you said earlier when you were talking about the, you were talking about when something comes up that you need to welcome it in instead of resisting it out.
Yes.
And so, when I hear of a man who was strong, and then when they're with their family, they are tearful. To me, that means that their family is safety. And so their family, they can just feel like they can just like release, because there's a feeling of family. And I don't know if you're talking about parents or not, but I know for me, when I get around my family, I release and just like, and then when I step away, I'm like, why did I do that? But it was because I feel safety. And I notice that with my friends, and their children do the same thing. It's because family will always love you no matter how your emotions are. So if you fall apart or you're mean or whatever, it's that way. But what I think is that something in life has happened that they're not able to handle, a trauma, an emotional upset. And so if they are able to welcome, like Liz was talking about, when those emotions come up, to welcome them and say, not to, and this is the key, to let the emotions be in the same space, but not to overtake. And when you collapse into the emotion is overtaking. But if you can say, you know what, fear and worry, you are welcome here, but you can't overtake me, because if you overtake me, it's like I'm trying to save you from drowning. And if you overtake me, we're both going to go down. And then, it's not going to help anybody. But if he could be in the same space with it and welcome it, then the messages come out. It's like, well, I had this upset, I had this feeling at work, and I'm feeling criticized, and I feel like I'm not going to be enough, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to communicate, or I don't know what the circumstances are. But the messages can then come out so that he can overcome them and realize that a lot of because what I hear is it's more fear and ego. It's a balance between the fear and ego, and the food that Liz was talking about absolutely can help balance that. But there has to be a level of facing the trauma or the upset emotions before he can move on. So,
Yeah.
It is very hard in families, because when you are faced with that on a regular basis, we've all got our own stuff that we're just trying to deal with ourselves, and sometimes we just don't have the energy to try and help. But and I get that, you just feel like, God, I'm over this, it's hard enough trying to keep myself above water here, and it's even harder when you live in an environment where there's a lot of Kaphas in the house, for example, or the energy is heavy, or they like listening, I get it myself, where they like their kind of music that just doesn't, it's heavy energy, and so you can feel like, oh, I'm living in a heavy environment, and it's trying to protect yourself, trying to
flow towards,
stay afloat, and I think so yeah, that's why I like the thought of, somebody I listen to a lot is Muji. Have you heard of Muji?
Yeah, I'm from Jamaica.
No, he's beautiful in helping you be in that place of observation, so you become the witness to whatever's going on in the mind and the body, and you can learn to detach and be in that space of consciousness where nothing hurts you, where there is no pain and there is no shape, form, in that state of being. It doesn't care about what the ego, what the body went through, what the mind went, it's got no it can just be the observer, and that really is to be able to be in that state of being through your daily walk. Gee, it would be so much easier to walk this life, and so it's such a it's a daily discipline, and this is what I've been trying to raise my energy and my vibration and be in the sattvics for years. You never oh yeah, I've got it now. Yeah, I'm here. You know, it just doesn't work that way. It's every day, and it always, the best way I find is starting, you know, just as soon as you wake up, is starting with thank you, God. You know, thank you for this new. It's just that gratitude prayer. And an interesting thing too, I thought, and I've just started, that my son has got me doing, is at night just doing a little journal and writing 3 things down. What made me enthusiastic today? What drained me of my energy today? And what did I learn about myself today? And he said, now, Mum, I want you to do this 30-day challenge, and just, you know, you don't have to write a lot, but just answer these 3 questions before you go to sleep at night. And it doesn't matter what it is. And, you know, and sometimes I think, oh, you know, some days, and I have started it, and me being Vata, to start and finish something is really rare. You know, it takes effort. And but I'm halfway through it, and I'm really starting, you start to see, oh my gosh, okay, what drained my energy? As you're reading it, going, these are the same things that are draining my energy. But as you're starting to observe how these 3 questions are going each day, you start to think, oh, okay, it's a bit like the Rajasic, Tamas, and Sattva. You know, you start to like, well, how can I? Just being aware. You're becoming more aware of your bodily actions, emotions, feelings to things, and the more awareness that you bring into it, the easier you seem to breeze through it. It doesn't seem to affect you as much. You know, you can still feel these things, but it sort of just goes by. It doesn't last. Whereas before we used to hold on to them, you know, and if I felt bad one day, I'm going to feel bad tomorrow and probably the rest of the week, you know, I'm going to hold on to that. But no, that they seem to.
It's exactly what you're saying, Liz, is so beautiful, because what you're saying is what happens now that you are writing it down, you're now becoming conscious of it so that you can be the observer. And once you become the observer of it, like you were saying earlier, then it doesn't have a hold of you.
No.
You know, when you can observe it, then it can pass through, just like what you were saying. You know, now there are still going to be areas that do trigger, and you just have to be aware of that and remember, continue to remember, what is it that I want? I want that sattva state. I want that sattva state, you know, or what do you want, you know? And that gratitude, you know, going into that level of gratitude can help. You know, but even talking it out, you know, just, you know, and even journaling, like you said, you know, writing down the things that you said, the things that gave you what you were excited about or energetic about for that day, what you didn't like about the day, and then the third one, I don't remember what it was, what you wanted to let go.
What did you learn about yourself?
What you learned, yes.
Yes.
And those are such beautiful questions. Those are they're questions to help observe so that you can move through the day more consciously. Because like you said earlier, Liz, you were saying that the emotions that we get stuck in, they come up again and again and again. And until you are willing to break that pattern, you can't move past it. A lot of times it just continues to come up. But this practice that you're talking about is perfect because it's bringing up the observation about what you're doing unconsciously, and you're bringing it to consciousness so that you can make a different choice and even establish new patterns. So it's beautiful advice what you've given Meena today about that.
Yeah, thank you.
I had learned a little mind trick many, many years ago when my chatter would get going, and it's usually self-criticizing and all that. And it was to stop and observe only. And when you go to observation mode, what do I see? What do I hear? What do I smell? What can I taste? You know, if you go to your senses in the present, it takes you out of that mind chatter and that downward spiral. But that observation and gratitude are so key to elevating ourselves to where we find that inner peace that we're all striving for. I think we should all put our hands together and send Liz a little love blast of love blast of gratitude. I can't stop. This is for you, Liz. We love you.
Thank you. I love you all too. Back at you.
So grateful for you. So grateful for everybody here. And I think to wrap up this this beautiful time we've had together, gratitude is really where it's at. And Jana, if you would cue our good friend Gary Malkin and his little burst of gratitude, and you can mute yourself and feel free to sing along at the top of your lungs if you'd like, because this is a song that when you can't get anything else out of your mind, if you can sing this little gratitude song, you can change your day and your mindset as well. So thank you, Liz. Thank you, everybody. Jana?
Thank you.
Yep, I want to say one more thing. In tribal communities, the men are the hunters, and the women go and they look for berries, and they have to remember where the berries are wherever they go. And the way to do that is they communicate it. So they chatter, they chat back and forth. They tell everybody. Where the hunters, they have to be quiet. They have to be, they don't want to disturb the animals. The women, if they're chattering while they're looking for the berries, it scares the animals. So it keeps them safe while they're chattering together. And then they also tell each other where the berries are, so they remember the next year where they are. So anyway, I love this group of women because we're chattering. And then Carol had asked me earlier if I had a piece of artwork, and I wanted to share it because I had it pulled up. So it's not colorful, but it's my so anyway.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Jana. What a beautiful job you did there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm pretty proud of it. I gave it to my daughter just because.
That's gorgeous.
Oh, let's see. Let me get that. How do I get back? All right, we'll just do a search. Goodness. There we go.
So you won't die if you sing, but it goes like this. I am grateful for the stars up above. I am grateful for the miracle of love. And when things fall apart, if things fall apart, and I barely survive, I am grateful just to be alive. Things am grateful. Miracle. For the miracle of love. And when things fall apart, and we barely survive, we are grateful. Just to be alive. We are grateful. Oh yeah. We are grateful for the miracle of love. When things fall apart and I barely survive, we are grateful just to be alive. We are grateful just to be alive. I am grateful just to be alive.
That is one of my favorites. I've been singing that all day. I woke up singing I'm grateful. Gonna close this out being grateful, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. What a beautiful couple hours this was. Liz, thanks again for being our special guest. This is one I'm gonna look at many times to go back and refresher. And I love the application of gunas to our mental process and our doshas. It's kind of a new way to look at things, and I'm so grateful. So grateful. So have a great weekend, everybody, and safe travels. Sharmini, enjoy your panchakarma. And Andrea, safe travels for you too. We're with you in spirit for sure. Aparna, it's great to see you as always. Love you all and with you all. And you feel free to unmute and say I'm with you and I love you.
I love you and I'm with you.
That's the
Love
one.
you and I'm
Love
with
you
you.
and with
I love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you. Thank you.